Let me tell you a quick story about a guy named Nguyen. He was just 33 years old, literally the prime of his life, right? Now, his doctors had warned him over and over about his sky-high blood pressure, but you know how it is. He brushed it off. He was busy. The guy practically lived on all-nighters to hit project deadlines, chugging thick black coffee just to force his body to stay awake. When he got the occasional dizzy spell, he just told himself, hey, I'm just a little tired. Until one totally normal morning, Nguyen suddenly collapsed on his bathroom floor. His mouth was drooping and half his body was completely paralyzed. Okay, we need to dive into this because his story, it's a terrifying wake-up call for us all. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unmask the silent triggers of a stroke and arm you with a literal survival guide.
Because when we hear the word stroke, almost all of us immediately picture someone in their 60s or 70s, don't we? We write it off as an old person's disease. Well, here's a number that completely shatters that myth. 30%. Right now, roughly 30% of stroke cases are hitting people in the 40 to 45 age bracket. That means nearly a third of these massive vascular emergencies are striking people at the absolute peak of their careers and their lives.
So the absolutely crucial question we have to ask ourselves today is, are you really immune? It's so easy, especially if you're younger or super driven, to just assume your youth is this impenetrable shield against sudden cardiovascular emergencies. We rely on our vitality, thinking, oh, I can bounce back from anything. But as we just saw with Gwen, biology genuinely doesn't care how young or ambitious you are if the underlying system is failing. Here's the roadmap for our explainer today. We'll start with the modern stroke epidemic, then we're unmasking the silent triggers. After that, we'll go over the BEFAST survival rule, look at some brain-protecting superfoods, and wrap up with movement as medicine. All right, jumping right into part one, the modern stroke epidemic. You know, this alarming trend of younger and younger patients ending up in the ER with blood vessel failures, it's causing massive headaches in the medical community. We really need to understand what this event actually is. A stroke isn't just a vague draft you catch out of nowhere, and it's certainly not just a stroke of bad luck. Physiologically speaking, it's a brutal, immediate event. It's a sudden cutoff of oxygen and essential nutrients to the brain. Whether a blood clot blocks an artery or massive pressure causes a vessel to literally burst, the result is exactly the same. Brain cells in that area start dying within mere minutes. And since the brain controls, well, everything, the victim's voice, their movement, their cognition, they're all instantly threatened. Which brings us to Section 2, Unmasking the Silent Triggers. To stop an enemy, you gotta understand how it operates, right? A stroke rarely just falls out of the sky. It's almost always the straw that breaks the camel's back, the end result of countless long-term habits and biological factors that we just quietly ignore year after year. And there's actually a fascinating biological divide here. Before the age of 50, women are naturally gifted this brilliant shield, the hormone estrogen. It actively maintains the elasticity of blood vessel walls and does a fantastic job of controlling cholesterol. Men, on the other hand, they don't have this built-in biological privilege. Add high-pressure careers to that vulnerability, and guys often lean into incredibly risky habits, like smoking, which directly destroys the inner lining of blood vessels, or heavy drinking, which just spikes blood pressure. Relying purely on the health of youth is a fatal flaw here. But hey, it's not just about what we consume. It's also about how we rest. Did you know 45% of middle-aged people are currently struggling with chronic insomnia? And we're not just talking about yawning at your desk the next day. Insomnia is a silent killer. When you chronically lack sleep, your sympathetic nervous system is constantly activated, and that throws your heart rhythm into total chaos. And honestly, even more dangerous in the sleep realm is sleep apnea. This condition literally causes you to stop breathing momentarily while you're asleep, leading to severe nighttime oxygen drops. You might not even know it's happening. But night after night, this oxygen deprivation silently ruins your blood vessels, basically laying out the red carpet for a stroke to attack. Think of this destruction over time like a horrifying traffic jam. Let's break it down. Step 1, unchecked high blood pressure forcefully pounds against the vessel walls, causing these tiny micro tears. Step 2, your body panics, right? So it rushes cholesterol and platelets over to patch those tears. Step 3, over time, this patching turns into thick atherosclerotic plaque, severely narrowing the pathway for your blood. And finally, step 4, the crisis hits. That plaque ruptures, forming a clot that shoots straight up to the brain, or the weakened vessel just explodes under the pressure. That is mechanically how our subjective daily habits destroy us from the inside. Moving on to Section 3, the BEFAST survival rule. So what happens when that line of defense finally breaks and the storm hits? We're pivoting now from terrifying biology to pure empowerment. When the dam breaks, your speed of recognition is the absolute thin line between life and death, between full recovery and permanent disability. So here is your survival toolkit. You need to memorize these BEFAST warning signs right now. B is for balance, sudden dizziness or loss of coordination. E is for eyes, sudden blurred or darkened vision. F is for face. Ask the person to smile. If one side droops, massive red flag. A is for arms. If one arm or leg suddenly goes weak and they can't lift it. S is for speech, slurred words, confusion, or difficulty speaking. And finally, T is for time. If you see any of these, do not let them lie down to sleep it off. No way. You call emergency services immediately.
I want to pause here for a second, because in the medical community, there's this chilling mantra: time is brain. Just let that sink in. For every single minute that passes after a blood vessel is blocked, nearly 2 million brain cells die permanently.
So, the absolute most crucial point is this: the golden window. You generally only have a tiny window of 3 to 6 hours from the onset of symptoms for doctors to administer clot-busting drugs or physically retrieve the clot. Waiting around, it literally robs the patient of their future ability to walk, talk, and think independently. Time is the one resource you simply cannot get back. All right, let's look at Section 4, brain-protecting superfoods. Of course, none of us ever want to be in a position where we're watching the clock on a stroke. So let's transition to some proactive lifestyle solutions. Your very first, most solid line of defense is actually sitting right on your daily dinner plate. I love to think of daily nutrition as a team of hardworking builders repairing your vascular system from the inside out. For example, salmon is packed with omega-3s, which act like a cleanup crew, clearing out bad cholesterol. Tomatoes are super rich in lycopene, which protects your vessel walls from biological rust and blockage. And your dark greens, sweet potatoes, and beans, they're loaded with potassium and fiber, which lower your blood pressure smoothly and completely naturally. Oh, and then there's this incredible secret weapon from Japan, natto, which is a traditional fermented soybean dish. It's not just a unique food, it actually contains a specific enzyme called nattokinase. Science has shown that this enzyme has the incredible ability to actively dissolve blood clots. It literally breaks down the fibrin that holds those dangerous clots together, destroying the biological foundation of a stroke way before it can even strike. And our final section, number 5, movement as medicine. Look, eating right is only half the battle. Your blood needs physical force to surge through your body and reach your brain effectively. But the good news? You don't need some punishing, incredibly expensive gym routine to keep your arteries elastic. Here are a few rapid-fire daily hacks for you. Drink a glass of warm lemon water first thing in the morning to fight inflammation. Take just a few moments during your day to do gentle neck stretches and shoulder shrugs. It sounds small, but these tiny movements miraculously relieve pressure on the cervical arteries, which are the main gateway for blood to the brain. Add a brisk 30-minute walk daily to train your heart and burn fat. And critically, put your phone away before bed. You gotta guarantee that deep, restorative sleep we talked about earlier. Integrating these habits is so simple, but the cost of ignoring them, it's catastrophic. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. Is ignoring a fleeting headache, suffering through chronic insomnia, or just turning a blind eye to bad cholesterol really worth risking the entire rest of your life? Your body always sends out distress signals before the storm hits. It's up to us to listen. Stop being subjective about your health. Use this explainer to start eating smarter, get moving every single day, and please, memorize that BEFAST rule. Don't let complacency steal your future.